Hi, I'm Jim Micah, and I'm going to take you on a tour of our new 2008 Marquis. You've seen some of our other videos on this coach. Now let's go behind the scenes and I'll show you what makes this a first-class ride. So here's what I'm talking about. At Beaver, we make our own front cap. What this means to our customers is better quality because we use the highest grade materials available. We then design, we engineer, and construct the molds to fit our customers' needs. Now take a look at this expansive pan-of-view one-piece windshield. The view from this windshield is absolutely outstanding. Note where these wipers are stored. They're low and they're out of view, and they can be pulled away from the windshield for easy cleaning. Some of our competitors, by the way, are still using a center post with two windshields. No center post, no worries. This massive windshield is well covered by defrosters and auxiliary blowers to keep it from fogging up in humid conditions. We use an Onan 12.5K generator mounted on a hydraulic slide for easy access. As you can see, it's located up front to balance the weight in the coach and save valuable storage space in the bays. Since Onan is owned by Cummins, it can be serviced at any of the thousands of Cummins service centers around the U.S. and Canada. Now looking into the area around the generator, you will find a steel firewall. There are a lot of manufacturers who use wood or aluminum, and we use steel to enhance safety and make the chassis stronger. And here's a nice touch for technicians. The wires are labeled every few inches so technicians can see what they go to all along the route to the wiring box. This is really helpful so servicing can be kept to a minimum. Another Beaver difference can be seen here as well. Our main rails are placed 44 inches apart. This gives us a mechanical advantage by spreading out the weight of the coach. Same reason sumo wrestlers don't compete with their feet together. You get the idea, but some of our competitors haven't. They still mount their rails just 34 to 38 inches apart. We believe that setting our rails 44 inches apart gives you a smoother, safer, and more stable ride. Our triple-headed chrome mirror gives you another Beaver difference. In addition to being remote controlled, they are heated, and catch this, a camera is mounted inside the lower mirror so you can see down the side of your coach and adjust it from the cockpit. At night when you're camping and you hear a noise outside, just use the monitor beside your bed and you can look at both sides as well as behind your coach without getting out of bed. Another advantage of this mirror is that it is mounted on the front of the cap as opposed to the side. This lets you keep your eyes focused up front with little head movement to see what's behind you. It also keeps the total width of the coach narrower for getting into tight places like a garage. If you have ridden in some of our competitors' coaches, you may have noticed air noise around the door area. This has been a common problem for many coach manufacturers. At Beaver, we manufacture our own entry door, and you can see we have 3 lock pins, not just one like some. This is a proprietary design that keeps the door pressed tight against the seals to keep out air noise. And speaking of seals, we also use the same technology used for fighter jets. Those cockpits use an air seal, and we use an air seal around the door to fill small gaps that might let air in and make noise. This seal actually inflates when the door is closed and the coach is put in gear. In fact, you need to put the coach in neutral to deflate the seal to open the door because it fits so tightly. Not to mention the fact that it's a good idea to have it neutral when getting in or out of the coach. Okay, since we also make our own screen doors, we made the screen on top easily removable. So when you're traveling, you can take it out for better viewing. We also incorporate a kick panel grid at the bottom so pets or the occasional kick won't push out the screen. In the step area itself, we have made the steps out of steel for more strength. They're also deeper for easier and safer access. The keyless entry pad is integrated into the grab handle. The handle itself is lighted and you can lock and unlock the entry door and all your bay doors from this handle. It also has a doorbell here at the bottom. Above the entry door you can see the armless Girard electric awning, a nice way to keep this entry area dry. It's painted to match your coach. Very classy look. We use 295 RV application tires for better load carrying capacity and superior safety. And these are mounted on great looking Accuride wheels. The Marquis has front and rear anti-lock disc brakes for better braking power. And the tag axle even has ABS. For the construction of the sidewall and roof, we use a process called vacuum bonding. You can feel how smooth our walls are. That's why our paint jobs look so good. We also use the best paint in the business. Step back and look at the high gloss finish on this coach. We use between 23 and 30 gallons of paint on each coach. Our competitors, they don't even come close. We lay out the graphics by hand. We paint 2 to 3 layers of each color and then bake the paint at 170 degrees for about 10 minutes for each color. The final step is 4 coats of clear coat. It then gets baked for 1 hour at 190 degrees. The clear coat has an ultraviolet ray protection in it so the paint won't fade. We then buff about half the last layer of clear coat to give you that ultra high gloss shine. We are one of the very few companies that builds our own chassis. Our chassis is called Roadmaster, and we believe it is absolutely the best. Each Roadmaster chassis is custom built for the model and floor plan. This allows us to utilize the space more efficiently. For example, as we mentioned earlier, we put the generator in front instead of putting it in a bay for better balance, and it gives you more storage area in the bays. The semi-monocoque design features an all-steel cage infrastructure welded to the chassis that adds enormous strength to the frame. The reason we refer to our chassis as a semi-monocoque chassis is because we use 2 types of chassis construction, a conventional main rail type and monocoque type. We combine them to give you the best of both and call it a semi-monocoque chassis. The conventional part of the chassis uses 2 main rails that are thicker and spread wider apart than most conventional chassis. This produces a more stable platform for the hydraulic or air leveling system and the air ride system. The Roadmaster chassis uses an active suspension that automatically adjusts the air pressure of the airbags while you drive. Ride height sensors are used to detect lean or instability and then distribute air to the low side to stabilize the coach. This virtually eliminates the side-to-side body sway customarily associated with high wind conditions, winding roads, and emergency maneuvers. The airbags and shock absorbers are mounted on the very outboard part of the H-frames that allow the coach to ride on air. Mounting them on the outside allows a much better mechanical advantage to keep the coach stable. The other part of the chassis, the monocoque part, is the walls, the roof, and the lower chassis. These components are all welded together to become one integral unit. One thing that separates our Roadmaster chassis from the others is the fact that we don't just bolt these parts together, we also weld them together. The bridge-type construction runs both lengthwise and across the chassis to distribute stress evenly throughout the chassis. The combination of these 2 types of chassis construction, coupled with 10 shock absorbers and 10 airbags on the outward portion of the chassis, results in unsurpassed stability and superior handling. The placement of the airbags at the outboard part of the chassis is very important because that is where most of the weight is. The steel walls, cabinets, solid surface counters, refrigerator, and furniture are all on the outer edges of the coach. Again, this is a custom-made chassis. We're not buying pre-made chassis like a lot of our competitors. They buy a truck chassis and put a motorhome on it. That's not how we do things here at Beaver. You're buying a custom-made motorhome. Everything is made from the ground up. Each chassis is slightly different depending on the model and floor plan. The semi-monocoque design is another example of what makes Beaver different. It's the foundation for a first-class ride. Moving along to the bays, you can see we have a complete pass-through bay with a super slide bay tray that can hold a lot of gear. It slides out so you can load and unload without straining your back. You can even get an electric slide tray like the one you see here. Notice that these baggage doors open sideways for easier access. We build these at Beaver, which gives us control of the quality and the construction. These doors are insulated, and trust me, they're built to last. Our fuel tank holds 150 gallons. That's a long way between fuel stops. It's V-shaped and baffled to keep the fuel centered for better pickup from the pickup tubes for the engine, the generator, and aqua-hot furnace. The pickup tubes for the generator and aqua-hot are set up to stop when your tank is down to a quarter full, so you won't run out of fuel at your campsite. Moving to the next bay, you can see we have another full pass-through storage bay. We put access ports in these so you can run power